In a world where there are too many comic books to keep up with, one podcast has the stones to bring you all of your comic book needs. Week by week. Book by book. One epic show. You are now tuned in to Nerd Church Radio.
Hello and welcome to NCR DC Communion, episode number 10. I'm your host, Ben Dupay.
I am Noah O'Toole.
And I'm Ariel Dupay.
And we are your DC comic book overlords. So, how's everyone doing this week?
Huh? Pretty good. pretty busy, but good.
I've been sick all
Yeah.
week, so...
All right. Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah, she's been sick and I've been out of work and it's been crazy. So
Yeah.
and then schoolwork is just nuts. You know, I got a math final I got to take tomorrow. So
Yeah, midsummer midterms are next week. Isn't that like
yep.
the most disturbing thought you've heard since?
Yeah, it feels like it shouldn't be that close.
I know.
Yeah, that's my math midterm I got to take tomorrow. I don't know how much studying I really should do for it or not.
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably not going to study very much. I'm a horrible tester as it is. So I don't know, man. I'm just going to go in and hope for the best. I've done all the assignments and stuff, so I think I know everything about it, you know, but I don't know. Who knows, man?
Yeah.
I haven't taken a test in like 5 years,
Right.
because graphic design classes, we don't take any tests. So, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it online or do you have to go in?
No, I have to go into a testing center and like show my ID. I was thinking like throughout this whole web class, like I was like, what would stop someone from just like paying someone to do all the work for them and going in and taking the test? I mean, I guess you'd have to have like a fake ID made or something, but you really could do that if you were invested.
Put
in
the
it.
effort into it. Yeah.
I feel like that would be about as much effort as it would take to like just not do
Just
the work
study
or
it yourself.
just study or
Yeah.
So we don't have any mail this week. We don't have any news this week. I spent some time looking for news. We did NCR DC Mass yesterday, and we kind of covered all the news. Both of them are going to come out at the same time.
Right.
There's not a whole lot of news. Just a lot of stuff on the Dark Knight's Metal stuff that's been coming out. It's looked pretty interesting so far, I guess. Did you read Dark Days of the Forge, #1?
No, I haven't read that yet.
Oh, really?
I did
Okay.
catch some of the news though on the what's it called, the Dark Knight metal thing, and that actually looks a lot cooler than I had originally thought it would be, with the whole nth metal connection and stuff like that. So.
Hawkman's a big part.
Yeah.
Well, before I get into it, we are a spoiler podcast. We are also a DC Comics fan podcast, so we like to talk about all the weekly comics that come out of DC Comics. And then we spoil those comics. So plot beats, character developments, all that stuff. I do put timestamps in the show notes just to label every comic and where it's at in the description of the show. So you have a good idea of, you know, if you don't want something spoiled, you can just skip over that commentary or whatever and go on to the next one. Press pause and just come back to us after you've listened to, or after you've read that comic book. So that being said, they in Dark Days of the Forge, Plastic Man was one of the big reveals,
Nice.
which they showed like a pod with, like, I guess that Bruce Wayne has been keeping Plastic Man hidden or whatever.
Okay.
And I wonder if that's related to, what's the story where Identity Crisis, where his wife got murdered.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I wonder if that was when he went into captivity or whatever. But
that could make sense.
If there's a listener out there that has that connection, definitely email me at nerdchurchradio@gmail.com and let us know what's going on with that. Because I'd like to know where Plastic Man was last time we saw him in the comics or whatever. I'm trying to think what else happened in Dark Days of the Forge. Did you read it, Ariel?
I didn't. I was going to, but you kind of discouraged me from jumping into it.
Well, I mean, I don't know. My opinion was unpopular. It got really good reviews
Right.
on but it was very similar to like Crisis on Infinite Earths. I don't like Crisis on Infinite Earths. I think it's really confusing and long and hard to follow, and so I don't know. It was a lot like that. I think a lot of people do like Crisis on Infinite Earths. A lot of people do like the legacy stuff.
Right.
The anti-monitor tower, the monitor tower or whatever was in Dark Age, The Forge too.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess Batman's been keeping that at the Fortress of Solitude.
Okay. I will have to read that just out of curiosity now, because
it's really odd, man. It's really it's out there. So yeah, I mean, it was overall. I think if you're gonna read Dark Knight's Metal, which all of us are probably, it's definitely required reading. Like, you need to read it it's giving you like kind of a prelude to that story. And there's some interesting things happening. There's rumblings of like an evil Batman or whatever in that, which, that's never been done before, I'm sure. Yeah,
right.
So yeah, it's exciting though. I'm trying to think what else we have for news.
Well, I don't know if it's news really. We all know that the Powerless show got cut off before season 1 even.
We talked about it. Yeah.
But did you know that Adam West was actually on an episode that hasn't aired, and they're gonna air that just for him?
Yep.
Which I thought was pretty cool.
I read that too. That's great.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. I'm glad to see it happen. So yeah, that's great. I don't know. I really hate how they cut that show off, because I was enjoying it.
I know. I liked it. I liked it too. It was really campy, but it just, I don't know. It worked for it.
A lot of people said like Parks and Rec season 1 got pushed on to the next season, and that was really campy and kind of bad the first season, but then it went on to be like really, really good.
Right.
So it was weird how like they didn't even let them finish out their season. They were just like 1 week.
Like, this is done. We're over it.
We're not airing next week. And
maybe you're just competing too much with the actual superhero shows, and it just couldn't.
Maybe.
Like, VR wise.
Yeah, maybe it didn't really have that same market though. I mean, it was a sitcom, so like I thought for sure it would succeed just because it wasn't part of the normal superhero genre.
It was such a pivot from all other superhero TVs that I kind of thought it would have its own niche just because it was the first and only of its kind. But I guess people don't like funny superheroes. I don't know.
yeah, I guess so. I don't know. And it was pretty campy, but I had fun with it. So we will move things on to the book reviews, though, because we don't have much else to go over this week. So I'm going to start things off with Batgirl and the Birds of Prey, number 11, I believe. Yep, number 11. And this was one of my favorite issues of the week. Story on this one's by Julie and Shauna Benson. Art is by Roge Antonio. And this is Source Code Part 1. So we open up this issue with Canary and Huntress dangling fake Oracle over the top of a building by his feet. Apparently Babs has been following fake Oracle's computer activity this entire time. So so every little like weird message that fake Oracle has been sending to whoever he's been sending it to, Babs has actually seen all of that, which I was really happy to finally see like Babs have the upper hand on something and be like, that Batman moment of like, I prepared for everything. Yep. I know everything.
I've been here all along.
And what's great is she's had the upper hand all along is what's it.
Yeah. Because like that in her own book, they don't really write her that way, and it's just like, that's frustrating for me because it's like, this is how she should be. She should have been monitoring the whole time.
Right.
Yeah. So we go on to learn that the guy who took advantage of fake Oracle was Calculator, which that is the big reveal of this week. One of the big reveals of this week. And so I'm super happy Calculator is back in the DCU again. That's awesome. I'm really excited to read, what they do with him and stuff. I think this is the perfect place to put him. Calculator approached Fake Oracle and gave him a choice. Come work for him, or Calculator would frame Fake Oracle for crimes that Calculator committed. But apparently Calculator isn't as bad of a guy as he has been in like the older story arcs. He now has a family to take care of, and that family is in danger. It doesn't help that Fake Oracle is actually struggling with bipolar disorder, which is why Calculator has been providing him meds. You've seen him like taking pills throughout this whole thing. I seriously don't understand why Fake Oracle would need someone like Calculator to get meds for him. I mean, this guy like, he impersonated Oracle. Like, it feels like he would be able to get a simple prescription filled or whatever. So that part was a little bit like, I didn't really understand. Like,
I sort of got the impression that these were not meds you could get by prescription, if you know what I mean. Like, maybe just something a little above what you could get from a doctor.
Okay, that makes
sense.
Just
to suspend, because comic books type thing. And,
okay, sense, that works. I mean, and it helps further the plot. So I'm okay with it. Cool. Mostly pretty good. The birds do arrange a meeting with the calculator, though. So the birds show up to the meeting, and he tells them that someone has kidnapped his family. The kidnappers are from a company called TerraCare, which is a place that Calculator tried to rob. So now Batgirl and the birds have to help the Calculator get his family back because there's a kid involved. So Batgirl decides to start with the contractor that the Calculator used to rob TerraCare, and that contractor is Catwoman. Mm-hmm. So we got a second awesome player in this game now. So I thought it was really good. I thought the story flowed really well. I thought there were a couple little comics moments that I was just like, that doesn't make sense, but I mean, whatever. Comics, it's kind of a silly story, so it is what it is. I'm super stoked about the whole angle they're taking with Calculator and having him be kind of like a good guy, or not really a good guy now, just also not a bad guy. He's looking out for his family. So I don't know. You've read Calculator before. What do you think, Noah?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, this is my book of the week. I mean, even in a week that has Wonder Woman and Red Hood and the Outlaws, by far this.
Yeah.
Blew it away. I was so excited. This, I haven't formed an opinion yet because I don't know if I trust his story yet.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's probably mostly true.
Yeah.
And it makes him, a little bit more relatable.
Yeah.
But still very much a bad guy. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, and plus his name's Noah Cutler.
Oh, yeah.
That's the Calculator's real name.
Help.
So, yeah. So I get to be Batgirl's arch nemesis.
That's awesome.
But no, I loved it. And then to have Catwoman show up at the end was like, I don't want to say icing on the cake, like another cake on top of the cake. It was fantastic. So,
it was really good.
I loved it.
My favorite part is when they were holding fake Orko over the lantern.
Just
and
over
they're like, man, my arm's getting sore. How about you, Huntress? I love the dynamic between Huntress and Canary. Like, I could just watch them nonstop.
Yeah,
it's really great, man. It really is. I love the fact that Calculator still doesn't know that Oracle is Batgirl.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah, so he's just I haven't faced anyone this bad since I faced Oracle, and it's he doesn't realize he's talking to Oracle. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So
they did really well with the fake Oracle, because at first you obviously don't trust him, and you never really trust him, but somehow he creeped into your hearts
a little bit. Right.
I liked him. I was like, oh,
you
Oracle.
Start to yeah.
Well, as soon as you find out that as soon as they find out that he isn't what he says he is, so to speak, they're all against him or whatever, but as soon as he flips that whole I have bipolar switch, they're super compassionate with him, and that's cool. I mean, that's pretty cool that they find out that he has a mental illness, and so that makes them sort of decide to help him out or whatever.
They decided that they understand the desperation to try to feel well.
Yeah.
Especially Batgirl was talking about, I was in a wheelchair.
Right.
I understand what it's like to want to be normal. So I understand you. And that was really cool. I know Batgirl being in a wheelchair, how it got there was kind of really gross.
Creepy or whatever, right.
Yeah, and kind of,
controversial.
Disturbing, yeah.
It was really cool to see someone disabled but still powerful in the DCU.
Exactly.
Yeah, totally. I agree.
And I do applaud them for, writing in a character with mental illness, because you don't get characters with issues like a lot of us have in the real world, so that was good to see that written and I loved how sensitive the birds were to it, because I don't think you'd get that with an all-male team, and I think that's kind of part of what makes the birds a little bit more unique and such a good book.
It'd be a lot harder pressed to use violence or a team of guys find out someone betrayed them, it's immediately a fist fight, and then you ask questions later. And so this was a little different, and it was a little cooler in the way they approached it. So we do have a rating system here where we like to rate and review our comics. I'll play that rating system so you know what we're talking about.
If a comic book is bad, we rate it as blasphemy. If the book is good, we give our blessing. If the book is not bad, not good, but just kind of meh, we rate it as stuck in purgatory. If the book is great, we rate it as holy. And if a comic book exceeds all standards of awesomeness, we rate that book as salvation.
All right, so what did I say in my written review? We got a couple of huge reveals on this one that were very exciting to read. I'm sorry, Julie and Shauna Benson know how to write my favorite comic book character, obviously. I'm super excited about, what's coming next. I think this was awesome. I think it was a holy. I don't think it was a salvation by any means, but I think it could very well be headed there, like at the end of this story arc. So, yeah, I really enjoyed it. What would you all rate this one?
To be completely honest, I would have given this one a salvation.
Awesome.
I really liked it. It just really kicked the birds of prey up a notch from what it's been, and the art is good. I do admit I like a little bit flashier.
Yeah,
but it's still good. It still gets a salvation for me. I loved it.
This is a very monologue heavy issue too, and there was a lot of words and a lot of black backdrop, and it wasn't as visual of an issue as they normally are.
Right.
So, what would you rate it?
Oh, solid, holy, definitely.
Nice.
It's really great.
Nice. Okay. Cool. Well, we will move things on then.
Do you want to do Supergirl since Batgirl's in that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I actually didn't read Supergirl, so yeah, you go ahead.
Well, okay. Supergirl number 10, written by Steve Orlando, pencils by Brian Ching, and colors by Michael Atiyeh, I want to say. So, as we know, Batgirl and Supergirl and Ben are trapped in the Phantom Zone. A man masked as a sailor finds Carl, Babs, and Ben lost among the souls of the damned, which is really cool visually because you don't see anything, and then this big ship comes, very Pirates of the Caribbean. They take his help to only find out that he's actually evil. His name is Dr. Adu, a wicked person who was condemned a long time ago. He holds the Aether switch, and once he has the power to turn it on, he can escape the wretched place that is the Phantom Zone. While this is going on and the girls are trying to figure out an escape plan, Ben's like, you guys, I can hold my own, please stop. Which is really hilarious because usually the roles are opposite.
Yeah.
Carl comes to realize that the Aether switch is actually a very powerful girl named Sai, and she was communicating her Kryptonian through the mind somehow. Carl tries to fight Dr. Adu to free Sai, but she gets scratched and there's a poison that's running through her veins, so she's now sick. Sai wakes up in fear and rage and turns herself into this destructive dragon that can't seem to handle anything. And even though Batgirl's please Carl, let's make a plan. Carl's like, no, someone needs help. And she dives in to try to help Sai, and that's where it ends. I think that's my favorite part, the juxtaposition between Batgirl and Carl.
Yeah.
Carl's like, no, help. We need help. Batgirl's like, no, we need a plan.
Right.
And we got that a little bit in the annual, too, when they teamed up. I think it was a Supergirl annual, but it was Batgirl and Supergirl. So I knew this was coming again at some point because it was a really popular thing. What did you think of the artwork?
I loved it. I love Brian Ching.
Mm-hmm.
It's so weird. When this book first started, I was like, oh, this is kind of weird and super stylized. But now it's one of my favorite art.
Yeah, I think he does the cartoonish style really well, so I really enjoy that.
One thing that's interesting, we all know that Emerald Empress has been searching. Her eyes been locked onto someone named Selena. Well, they found her, and I guess she's a sorceress or something. I don't know where that's going, but since it started in Suicide Squad versus Justice League, I'm wondering if this is going to leak into other books as well. The sorceress girl.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm
know.
interested to see if that's the case. I can't say I've really noticed much of it.
I feel like the Emerald Empress herself, outside of once that arc ended, has really just shown up in the super books.
Yeah.
So maybe at least throughout the super books.
Yeah. Well, her eye's been looking for someone, and she's kind of popping in and out.
Yeah, the eye of
Ekron.
Yeah.
I found it. So
nice.
I freaking loved it. I gave it a solid holy. I love these two girls together. It's just amazing.
Very cool. Yeah, Jim from Weird Science messaged me. He was like, I saw Ariel liked Supergirl a lot better than I did this week.
I liked it. I mean, it was, a blessing for me, but it was still very good.
Nice. Okay, cool. All right, so we will move things on to Noah. What do you want to talk about
We're
next?
going to talk about Wonder Woman number 24.
Go figure.
Yep. Story. By the way, I saw that for a third time this week. I took my mom to it. And
how was it on the third time?
You know what? I liked it best the third time just because...
Really?
I had already taken so much in, and I got to notice things so much, more having not, having seen it, and my mom actually liked it to the point she says I don't have to pretend that I liked it. It was really good.
That's awesome.
I appreciate you being prepared to pretend to like it for me.
Yeah, I liked it the second time. I thought it was good. There was it was interesting because Travis made the comment, and I may have told you this already, but he said like that's the most dialogue I think a superhero's ever really had in a movie. Like, superheroes just don't normally talk very much in movies. I mean, like, they talk a little bit, but there's not normally as much dialogue as she has, and that's awesome. Like,
she's just brutally.
Right. And all the parts where she was like, my mission is to save the world. You know, I want to be a hero really stood out to me, especially the third time, because that's like what everybody's been talking about, because she's the only one that wants to be a hero so far.
Totally.
So, okay, on to the book. So previously, we're at Wonder Woman number 24, and so we've just got one more issue that will wrap up Rucka's run, unfortunately. So this is one of the current issues.
What issue is this? 24?
24.
Okay, yeah, so we have that one oversized issue left, and then we're done.
And then we're done. So, generally speaking, what's happened so far, Diana's been able to defeat Phobos and Deimos, who are the twin sons of Ares, and she's prevented them from taking the mantle of the god of war. In the meantime, Veronica Cale's daughter has been restored, but can never leave Themyscira as a result. And Barbara Ann Minerva has once again been transformed into the Cheetah by Veronica Cale as part of her attempts to rescue her daughter. So we pick up here where the last issue left off, and the portal to Ares has closed, and Wonder Woman and Veronica Cale are returned to the real world. Veronica will never see her daughter again, just as Diana will never see her mother again. Themyscira is truly lost to her. Not only has she never been home since the first time she left, but she also knows now that she may never return to paradise again. Diana notices, of course, right away that her friend Barbara is missing, but Steve convinces her that the Cheetah can take care of herself and that the two of them needed to get out of there. As Steve and Diana leave, we see Cheetah spying on them from the brush. After they're gone, she approaches the portal to Ares, which is now closed and merely just the husk of an old tree. With tears streaming down her face, Cheetah begs the power of the gods to accept her. But when the portal rejects her and disappears, she vows her revenge on everyone, Amazon and God alike. So, not being one to abandon a friend in need, Wonder Woman leaves in search of the Cheetah. Knowing Barbara will be out for blood, Wonder Woman drops in on Veronica Cale, who is currently being ripped to shreds by the Cheetah. In a heartbreaking final scene, Wonder Woman saves Veronica by putting the Cheetah in a chokehold and knocks her unconscious. Next is What Now? And then we'll find out what now in issue 25.
Yeah, man, it was crazy what Cheetah was doing to Veronica Cale. I mean, she ripped up her back, dude. That was gnarly.
It was vicious. It was one of definitely the most, as far as Wonder Woman book goes, one of the most vicious attacks I've seen in Rucka's run, and I love that the Cheetah pulled it off because she's just feral like that. Yeah,
totally.
And speaking of that, his reinvention of the Cheetah is without a doubt one of the highlights of the series to me. Just because she's one of my favorite Wonder Woman villains, and I think what makes her so powerful is that he wrote her as her friend first and her villain second, and that's kind of what really adds to it. So this issue didn't add anything of substance to the story. Unfortunately, just like the one before the last one of this did, I kind of feel like those two should have been back a couple issues, and we should have a more consistent climax rolling into issue 25. But it was still really good. I liked it basically showing Diana's capability for love and forgiveness, and it was a holy.
Nice. Yeah,
so I liked it, but
I tend to agree with you. I love Cheetah. I love the way artistically that Bilquis ever really draws Cheetah in this one. It's just, she looks crazy, scary. I mean, horror movie level scary.
And the muscle.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, just frightening.
They didn't worry about her being, pretty at all and having the long hair or anything like that. I mean, she is like a were-cheetah. And it's
not like in Injustice, Gods Among Us.
Right, yeah.
Holy crap, that's I don't really like that version of Cheetah either.
Yeah. I like all versions of Cheetah. I get just about all versions. I can't help it, but
I don't know, the video games, I guess they always feel like they have to sex up characters,
definitely,
and it's but Cheetah to me should be more of I don't know. It just always seems like she'd be more like this.
More animalistic.
More animalistic, yeah.
I will say I don't appreciate Dr. Cale hurting Dr. Cyber's feelings.
Right?
It's like not cool, okay? Like, I think you just lost your daughter, but chill out.
Right, you got a thing for robots?
Yeah, does she have feelings?
And also, oh man, what was it? How'd you feel about Steve in this? He was kind of like ushering Wonder Woman.
Right.
And I was like, Steve, back up. Like, it's Wonder Woman.
Right, she can
also handle herself.
Yeah.
Well, this is in the year one, or like this is still part of the before storyline.
I thought they've kind of come together now, haven't they?
No, not really. No. Nope. We're still, I don't know. Are they? I mean, I was under the impression this one was still sort of, yeah, I get it, but
right. I think this one's current. Isn't this one current? Because I mean, this is
Bill Quisevely, right?
Yeah, this is the culmination of because
I don't know.
Yeah, we're done with because they just found out that Ares was trapped, and so now it's the present day.
Yeah, the coming together. I think the last couple issues, at least 23 and 24, are now.
Okay, so they've come
because
together.
we've reached the climax and the portal is there and all that.
And 25 is going to be an extra long issue, isn't it?
Yep.
Like,
yeah, I guess I thought they were still running parallel to each other.
I didn't know.
So, yeah, well, then I don't really know. Yeah, it's good though. Still, I enjoyed it. I feel like it's kind of like they've already climaxed this issue or this series, and I feel like we're just, I don't know.
I know
I'm hoping we get one giant payoff moment at the end.
I'm going to be really disappointed if 25 doesn't pay off. I'm going to go back and drop all my ratings on 23 and 24 to a blessing instead of holy because it will wreck it. It really will.
I'm actually at a blessing because I'm just waiting for that. Like, okay, I get it. It's like,
what was the deal when we saw Dr. Cyber kind of like transform into this like Dr. Fate looking thing?
That's because Dr. Kill hurt her feelings.
She did hurt her feelings. Yeah.
So
that's her natural form. That's her like the God Walker, I think they called it, the machine. And so that's kind of more her natural form, but she is able to holographically, put any image she wants, and so she's always done Adriana Anderson.
Okay.
Which was the friend that her personality basically is in the machine.
Modeled after.
She should have formed into one just giant hand, middle finger.
And middle finger. I gave her a finger.
That would have been awesome.
That would have been good.
All right. So we will move things on here to... I don't know if I should talk about JLA or Superwoman. They're both just so good. Sorry.
I thought Superwoman was good.
Superwoman. We'll talk about Superwoman because that was much better than JLA.
There you go.
Actually, I shouldn't say that because Superwoman was very good. I think JLA is the one that needs some work personally. But Superwoman number 11. Script on this one was by Kay Perkins. Pencils by Jose Luis. Inks by Ray McCarthy. And colors by Hi-Fi. So... Z, which as far as I can tell is Steele's nephew, is waking up screaming that there's a monster in his closet. Steele and Lana come in to settle him a bit. Then they go back out to the kitchen. Steele's sister Natasha is hanging out in the kitchen studying when Natasha's dad comes in fresh off a crime scene. And he's like, he's not a cop. He's a guy who is robbing a monster to try to provide money for his family. Send his kids to college, all that sort of stuff. His heart's in the right place. He's just not doing it the right way. So, needless to say, Lana and the rest of the family are not too happy with him. The last page in this sequence shows us Zeke's bedroom as the closet door opens. It creaks open, and a pair of red eyes are peering out at him. So, it's just like the worst nightmare. And Lana actually was... They went in to search his room or whatever, and Lana almost searched the closet, but she didn't. And that's just that kind of leads us into the next part. So now we're picking up years after the fact. Zeke was kidnapped and never heard from again. And his family is still struggling to deal with that fact. Lana heads down to a police station to try and get some information out of Captain Sawyer. Sawyer tells Lana that she's too close to this and that she can't provide Lana with any information on it. So Lana appears to walk away, but kind of hangs out around the corner and all stalker-like and eavesdrops on Sawyer and Atomic Skull. Atomic Skull was just interrogating Remnant about Crash's whereabouts and found out that Crash's sole target is Skyhook. And this whole Skyhook thing, this confused me. I don't know what Skyhook is.
He's just like a really bad criminal that kidnaps children.
See, I thought that was Remnant.
No, it's Skyhook. I'm pretty sure. I might be wrong.
Okay, so
I'm not entirely sure.
Skyhook has been jumping from nest to nest. We'll call him Skyhook for now, I guess. Lana decides to go after Skyhook and is beating, and she's in a big brawl with him, basically, and it just ends with her being defeated by him. Something about, like, her magnetic suit gets magnetically pulled to the train tracks of the trolley in town, and, like, he makes away or whatever. And, you know, we end the issue where she's in defeat, and she could have found out what happened to Zeke. Is he still alive? Did Remnant kill him or whatever? But she doesn't find out, and we're gonna pick up next issue. So I didn't get enough Atomic Skull action, man. Like,
definitely not. You can never have too much Atomic Skull.
Oh man, dude, it makes me so happy. That guy's hilarious.
I love him.
It's so great when he's interrogating Remnant. Skyhook rather. He's just like, here's how this is going to work. I'm going to get information out of you. I'm going to bring it back to my captain. She's going to give me a gold star, and I'm going to put it on my refrigerator. And like that, and it's so funny when like him and the captain are walking and talking, away and talking, and Lana's eavesdropping on him. Like after they're done, the last dialogue bubble is him just being like, "Now about that gold star." Like it's just so great. I don't know. I loved it.
I love when the captain's like, "We talked about you blurting out information in the hallway."
Right? Yeah, we talked about this.
He's like, "Oh, was I blurting? I'm sorry. I did." Yeah, so I enjoyed this one, though.
Yeah, it was really good. We got a glimpse of this whole Zeke missing story. A couple issues again, 4 or 5, I want to say. So it's really cool to start picking up.
How did we get that? Like, because I just started reading last issue or the issue before.
It's kind of always been in their family dynamic that, like, the little boy has gone missing and kind of causes a strain, especially with Natasha.
Okay.
Because both their parents are kind of screw-ups, and she lost her little brother now, so she hates her father. And that's why she's living with Steel and Lana right now.
Okay.
So.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, but I'm really glad they picked it back up, and I hope they find Zeke. I really like him.
Yeah, man, that sucks. I hope that it doesn't... I could see it going one of a couple ways. I feel like they could either he's been dead this whole time, or they find him. Those are the two obvious ways. But the next way that I could see them taking it is like he's now like Skyhook's,
super baby.
Well, he's not a baby
anymore.
He'd be like a teenager now. 10 years later. So he was what, like 12 years old at the time, 10 years old.
Maybe
So
younger. Pretty young.
Yeah, 8 or 10. So he'd be like 18, 20, 22. Yeah. So I mean, he could be a bad character now, like a bad guy, and like Skyhook or Remnant or whatever the hell, like it could be his like disciple or something like that. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see where they take it with that. What did you think of it, Noah?
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I also have only read it like the past 3 to 4 issues, so I missed out on the Zeke thing and just So I didn't think I fully grasped the full magnitude of the reveal on that, but I've really liked Superwoman, and it's such a good book. I mean, for me, I gave it a blessing just because I missed out on the Zeke thing. So
I'm at a blessing too. I think it's good. I think like if we get to a really cool like climax in this, it'll get me to a holy, and I'll be like, this is awesome. But I'm just waiting to see. I know Kay Perkins, like, she did a really good job picking up this book. I mean, it was not doing very well at all,
right?
And they gave it to her, and I know she's writing some other stuff too. So this has been like just another thing on her plate that she has to do. So yeah. What would you rate it, Ariel?
I give it a blessing. I have a hard time connecting to Lana, just because, I don't know, she's like the fake Lois to me.
Sure, yeah.
Kind of a throwaway. But I really love the characters around her. I love Natasha, I love Steel, so...
Okay.
Keeps me hanging on.
Cool.
Nice.
Awesome. Well, we will move things on. What do you got for us, Ariel?
I have New Superman number 12, written by Jean Luen Yang, pencils by Billy Tan, inks by Hanning, and colors by Gadson. I think that's the first time I didn't trip up completely.
Yeah, good job.
Yeah, it's a tough creative team.
So, Superman Zero, who seems to be faster, stronger, and more powerful than Keenan, is on a mission to kill Fahahi. I'm just going to guess that's how you say his name.
That works. Roll with it.
The Justice League of China can't stand by and let the Superman destroy their city, so they attempt to lure the battle back into the ocean. But arrogance gets in the way as Superman Zero begins uploading an obscene amount of power to blast the beast. A power so strong it's going to end up causing an explosion. When the Justice League of China tries to intervene, Wonder Woman's true form is revealed. So, kind of backtracking to the story of the two snakes. There are 6 realms, and 2 friends in the form of snakes were trapped in their own realm. but the White Snake fell in love with a human boy. Determined to be with him, her friend and her cultivated their Q in order to be human. But a turtle stood by and watched and felt himself filled with anger and rage of his treachery. So he began to cultivate his Q and destroy the young love. To save her friend, the green snake threw Fahai back into the depths of the ocean, but in turn got herself turned into stone. This is until Dr. Omen found her and gave her new life. The significance of that story is Wonder Woman of China is actually from a different realm where she was a snake.
Okay.
Which I thought, oh my god, I loved it so much.
Would this be a good jumping on point?
You might want to go like an issue or two back.
Okay.
A couple issues back.
Okay.
Honestly.
All right.
Keenan does something kind for once in his life. He recognizes the fear in fake Superman and decides to let him go, which was a mistake, because Superman Zero will now be used against him with the help of I Ching. And I Ching is new Superman's mentor, but he's secretly evil.
Okay.
Not only that, but Bat tells Keenan that he found out that Keenan's father is possibly still alive and in the basement of Dr. Owen's lab. Anger rages through Keenan as he runs to Dr. Owen's lab to confront her. Showing up just as Superman Zero, who is now Emperor Superman, wrecks the building. Only then does Dr. Omen reveal the biggest secret yet. She's Keenan's mother.
Okay.
No. Yeah,
No.
she is. You guys aren't
No.
excited about that?
I mean, I just haven't been keeping up with it, so it's like...
It's so good, you guys.
Yeah, I mean, I did
it's
notice...
the one I didn't... I've just not ever...
I didn't...
into it too much.
I did notice that it got, like, the top rating for DC books this week. I'm looking on...
It's so amazing. It, like, takes aspects from comics, from mythology, from novels. Like, it's the perfect book.
Well, I'm really intrigued now by...
Wonder Woman 24 got 0.1 higher than this, but like I mean this got like nearly the highest rating on comicbookroundup.com.
Yeah.
So
And let me tell you, I get sorry to all the listeners, I get comic fatigue. Like
Right.
there's weeks where I'm just like, oh god, the same story over and over. And it's books like this that get me remotivated and excited about comics and stories. And like I actually I loved it so much I went and looked up Gene Luen Yang and tried to find like other things he's written, because it's just, this story was like perfection. I give it a 10 out of 10.
Nice.
Like I think it's the perfect story in every way.
cool.
Read it now.
I'm really intrigued.
Awesome.
I definitely give props to what gets me. I like that they connected the Wonder Woman's China to Chinese mythology.
Yeah.
Just like,
She's on
Wonder Woman's,
mythology.
mythology. So that was props
And,
on
like,
that, and that's cool.
This page right here where it showed the 6 realms.
Yeah.
I just I want to get that tattooed on my body. I love
Yeah, it
this
is
book
really,
so much.
really
That's
pretty.
awesome.
And it makes me sad because I know the chopping block is coming up, and I think this book is on it. And it just I want to do whatever I can to get people to read.
Well, if
this
it did
book.
so good this week, I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
Who,
I mean,
who
it did
knows?
good review-wise.
Right.
It also didn't have as many reviews as the other.
Right.
Like, I mean, there's only
Because
a
not many people
handful.
read it
Yeah.
to begin with. So, but
I did notice something about the title of this book, too. It's New Super Dash Man. So it's not like Superman like Clark Kent. It's Super Dash Man.
Yeah, he's
yeah,
always
I think they've always been that. 'Cause
Yeah.
He's been Wonder Dash Woman and
Well, no, but
Bat Dash
Superman.
Man.
Superman is like one word. Superman.
I know,
Superwoman
because
is.
they're from China, so I think they put the dash in just to
Oh, okay.
distinguish them.
That's a language thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
And then just little. I don't know if it's an intentional thing or just an Easter egg or what. But back in the '60s, when Wonder Woman when they had her give up her powers and learn martial arts, her mentor was I Ching.
Oh, really?
And so I don't know
wow.
if they maybe did that as a nod to back then or maybe it's just a convenient name. But I
Hey,
was
man,
like,
that's
that's cool.
awesome.
There's some
And he's so cool. He's kind of like Neo, not me, Neo. Who's Neo's mentor?
Morpheus?
Yes.
Okay.
Morpheus,
He reminds me
yeah,
of
yeah.
Morpheus. So he's like kind of shady but kind of cool. Like I just read this
awesome.
book, you
Yeah,
guys.
nice.
Yeah, it. I mean, I used to keep up with it, and I just lost it as I stopped to review it, or I had too many books on my plate. But this was always one of my favorites in the beginning of DC Rebirth, so it's really good. Yeah, awesome. All right, well, we'll move things on to Noah's last book.
And that is Red Hood and the Outlaws, number 11. Story by Scott Lobdell and art by Dexter Soy. This is Who is Artemis? The finale, Outlaws at War. And just kind of to catch up, pretty much this, ever since issue 1, I mean, we had the whole Black Mask thing, but pretty much there's been this whole Bow of Ra thing that's been just this ongoing thing since day one. So now we're finally getting to this conclusion with the Bow of Ra. And they're already at an impasse, Red Hood and Artemis. She thinks that her friend Aquila is still her friend, and she does not have the bow. She thinks the general of Quark has the bow. Well, Red Hood thinks and knows differently because he's actually talked to the general who confesses that he doesn't have the bow and that he instead brought back the dead Amazon Aquila to be the Shimtar, and she has the bow and has gone nuts again. As soon as Artemis witnesses Aquila murder the general right in front of her eyes, she laments, "Dear goddess, what have I done?" So now we cut to Bizarro, who's still attempting to help the Quark refugees, and he punches a hole through the side of the mountain because they got trapped on the other side of the mountain last issue, and he happened to do it right on the side that Aquila was standing next to, so half a mountain conveniently crumbled down on her, but the setback was merely temporary as one punch from her knocked Bizarro out cold. But, however, it bought enough time for Red Hood to attack her with the All Blades, which are his dual swords that only work against magic and draw their power from his soul.
Yeah, and I thought that was pretty cool.
Very cool, yeah.
Yeah.
So Bizarro regains consciousness and joins Red Hood in battle against Aquila. As Artemis picks up the Bow of Ra, she recalls her teacher's words from many, many issues ago. A warrior doesn't choose her weapon, it chooses her. And with those words, Artemis realizes that the bow chose her, and with that power, she is able to defeat her former friend and sister Aquila. But all is not well in the world of the Outlaws, however, because Bizarro suddenly collapses without a heartbeat, and the little boy he's been helping yells, "Bizarro is dead!" And next we get Bizarro M no more.
Yeah, man, and they won't kill Bizarro.
They won't kill Bizarro. Yeah, I mean, it was very, climatic and stuff, so that's all cool, but I'm not too worried for Bizarro.
Yeah,
I think he'll probably be okay.
Yeah, it was awesome, though, man. I love the artwork in this book. I think the story's awesome. I love the characters. I mean, this is always a winner for me.
Yeah, the story, the art, character development, the adventure. Every time I review it, I could go on and on about how fun it is.
Yeah.
But I'm also going to have to do it because I did the last time too. Stupid. Who checks the colors on this? Because
dang, I see it now. Her boots are red in one frame and they're black in another frame.
Page 16. Her boots the full splash page of Artemis one of the main reasons it stands out to me so much is because they're Wonder Woman's old boots. The red with the white stripe going up. Then I have just always thought that was a fun nod to Wonder Woman's old costume and stuff. So it just sticks out to me like a sore thumb when she's standing there with black boots. And
full splash page. With her
it's like how did you miss that? But
that's crazy.
Yeah, that notwithstanding, this was wrapped up in such a good way, and the story is complete, but it's still going, and I still want more. And I gave it a salvation this time. I'm
killer.
I'm learning from Ariel, and I'm giving 2 salvations this time.
Hey man, that's cool. I'm at a holy on this one. I think it's awesome. I think it's a really great read. I think I don't know. I think it's for everyone. I really do. I think if you're into Justice League, you'd like it. I think if you're into Wonder Woman, you'd like it because it has the Wonder Woman ties. I think if you're into the Bat family, you'll like it.
Definitely Bat. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, if you're into Superman, you got Bizarro, and that kind of ties to something you like. So I feel like as far as DC fans go, there's something for everyone in this book.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, what did you read?
I definitely gave it a holy. There is a moment where Artemis is like, "Oh my god, I have to take her down again." And it's really cool to see that vulnerable side of her because she's always so strong.
Tough. Yeah,
it is.
Holy, definitely.
Very cool. All right, well, we will move things on to the last book of the evening, which is Justice League of America, number 8. Yeah. Yeah. So the story on this one is by Steve Orlando. Pencils are by Felipe Watanabe, inks are by Scott Hanna, and colors are by Hi-Fi. So we open up on a beautifully drawn page of a weird world with weird monsters in it. Tarzan-looking dude is running with the monsters and being chased by what looks like sci-fi bad guys. But the JLA is here to protect the Monster Man and get him safely back to modern American civilization. This all seems a little shoehorned in. The JLA just happened to be at Monster Valley, but Bats explains to Lobo that they're here because Skull, which is an acronym for something, has a new backer, and they have to get in the way, whatever that means. I don't know. So the JLA rescues Tarzan and brings him back to American civilization. He's being interviewed on a talk show where he tells the host his origin story, which is a lot like Iron Fist's origin story from the Netflix series. He got in a plane crash and his parents died or whatever, or I think his parents died in this one, and he ended up being raised by monsters. So very similar to it's just that same your plane crash, you live most of your life in isolation or whatever.
You're feral, kind of.
Yeah, so after we learn that Batman thinks the Monster Man is lying, we get a shot of Adam, Ray, Killer Frost, and Vixen talking about how Batman is kind of a dick in real life, which, go figure. He doesn't trust people, he doesn't show up when he says he will, and Ray thinks he's a hypocrite. Ryan zooms off to the sanctuary where Batman, Lobo, and Canary are talking about how pissed off they are that Monster Man lied to them. Ryan shows up, and Batman tells Ryan that he now knows where to find Skull. Still very confused at this point on who Skull is, what their deal is, what's going on with them. But meanwhile, Monster Man is holding some kind of press conference. Batman, Lobo, Canary are on Infinity Island breaking into a Skull base, which at this point I'm just going to assume they're kind of like Hydra.
I assume as well.
Ryan is breaking into the Monster Man, which his name is Markson's apartment. Through some radio contact, we find out that Markson's family are the ones backing Skull, and Markson knows this. This was all a plan for him to get revenge on them, and the last page shows us him reuniting with his family. So I thought this book got a little better than it has been. It's been a huge letdown for me all through Rebirth. I haven't liked this book. I think Steve Orlando just doesn't know how to write dialogue. It's always seems scripted and cheesy to me. It's always painful to read. But that being said, I think this got a little better. I think good art helped with this one a lot. I think we got a lot of cool settings or whatever that made it kind of cool. But yeah, I don't know. What did y'all think of it?
I feel like the story was put into place to cause a rift between the team members. But it doesn't work because the team members have never really worked well together in the first place.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's there's no point to try to add this storytelling aspect now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very odd sort of thing because we don't care about these characters that much to begin with. I mean, no one really cares about Lobo. You haven't given us a reason to care about Lobo.
Right.
We care about Black Canary, but not really in the context of this story because we don't know. I mean, we don't know why she's here, or what. There's not been anything that's happened that's made me care about her. A little bit with Killer Frost and Suicide Squad. We got one issue that kind of showed us her being walked through the Suicide Squad or whatever. So there's a little bit, just not enough for me. So I give this one a purgatory. I'm ready for it to go away.
I did too. Unfortunately, both the Justice League books, just Justice League and Justice League of America, are just uninteresting, and that's just really unfortunate because those should be the two flagship books, and they should be my favorites, and they're constantly on the opposite end of the spectrum each month.
I agree. So, all right, we will. We got nothing left for you guys, so that's all we got this week. We'll be back next week, I think. So Travis is out of town for 3 weeks, so I think it's actually going to be us three and Brad doing a show for 3 weeks. It'll just be one show, 3 weeks, and a ton of books. So we're going to start that off next weekend. Do you guys have anything else for the listeners tonight?
I don't think so.
Right. Read New Superman.
Yeah, read New Superman. I'm going to do it, so awesome. You do it too.
Good deal. All right, well, you guys have a good week, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.